I'm most happy when I can wear the color of my soul. So guess who's been really terrible at consistently making videos? It's me! I've been reading stuff and thinking things, so there's gonna be more of this happening. Starting today with The Secret History by Donna Tart. So this book is extraordinarily dark and twisted, and it's awesome. The story follows the main character Richard Dick, who is attending a small humanities college in Vermont. And at this college he becomes fascinated with a small elite group of classics students. And the reason this group is small is because the classics department is run by this one teacher, Julian, who will only admit 5 people into his program. The story follows Richard slowly becoming a part of this group and realizing and the unraveling of the group dynamics and then the individual relationships he has with the other 5 people and all of the absolutely horrid things that happen that year. This is one of those books that starts off with a big horrible thing that happens near the end of the book. The prologue introduces the horrible end event before you even know what's happening or who the characters are. So the plot of the story is centered around trying to figure out why and how this happened. Richard is an interesting main character because he's simultaneously extraordinarily perceptive and also very blind. He's extraordinarily perceptive at picking up things about all of the characters and kind of understanding them and picking things out from their backgrounds, especially with Julian, actually. That one's interesting. But he's also willfully blind to so many things, especially things within the dynamic. Part of Richard's willful blindness is that the author, Donna Tart, Queen, is only letting you know what she wants you to know, and she's doing that through Richard. So there are certain things that Richard can't pick up on all the time right away because it's not relevant yet. As Richard becomes more and more involved with this group of people and he goes deeper and deeper and deeper into this individual and group dynamic, you start to realize how messed up it is. It's just this slow unraveling of everything. So the process of this book in learning about all the different characters and how that relates to the big terrible event at the end is incredible. These characters are fucking phenomenal. I don't even want to tell you their names or anything about them because I want you to read this book and discover it for yourself. Like, each character is like a white chocolate cheesecake. It is so rich. These characters are the most comprehensive characters I've ever interacted with because of the fullness and richness of their backgrounds and then also the perceptions that Richard has of them in the present and their actions and how that leads together and then reveals itself in the final big events that happen. What? Because this book starts with knowing the terrible thing in advance, and then the slow disintegration of all of the characters and the dynamic, and because of the fantastic writing, you're left with an overwhelming sense of dread. Like, this book made me queasy. Even if this book is set against the backdrop of a beautiful spring day, there was something so subtly menacing present in the story at all times. The writing is phenomenal. The whole bloody thing is prose. One of the things about this book is that it is like 500 pages long with the tiniest font you've ever seen, and there is only 6 chapters. So I read the first chapter, which was 50 pages long, and I was kind of like, is this for me? Because already the sense of overwhelming dread was setting in, and I was like, I don't know if I want to do this. If you feel that, keep going, and it's going to be great. As I mentioned, all the characters in the book are studying the classics, and there were a lot of allegories and metaphors and references to stuff from the classics. So it worked out perfectly for me, because at the time I was reading this, I was studying ancient philosophy and ancient political thought. So the little that I knew that I could bring to the story enhanced my experience. The last illustration to impart on you the feelings that I have about this book, and on the theme of the classics, we're going to talk about Socrates. Socrates was an ancient Greek philosopher and is seen as the first real philosopher in the Western tradition. Socrates was brought to trial in Athens, where he lived, basically because he pissed people off by making them think about things. Essentially, that's oversimplified, but And at one point during the trial, he talks about the Oracle of Delphi. The Oracle of Delphi was associated with the god Apollo. Someone came to her and asked, who was the wisest person? And she was like, it's Socrates. And Socrates' reaction upon hearing this was, excuse me, what? Because his whole thing was that he was wise in that he did not know that he was wise, or he knows that he doesn't really know anything. He decided to go out and talk to people who claim to be masters and have knowledge of their respective crafts. So he went to craftsmen and politicians and poets. And when he engaged with the poets, who he hated, by the way, Socrates hated poets, he realized that they, like everyone else, didn't have any knowledge. He said that the people that were consuming the poetry as the audience knew just as much as the poets did about what their work was about. Because the poets didn't have any actual knowledge into the nature of beauty, they just knew how to produce beauty. This book is not that. She knew exactly what she was doing at every moment in this book. Every sentence is dripping with so much intentionality that it would have punched Socrates in the face. I would highly recommend this book to you, although it may make you feel like you want to throw up after you read it.